Ready to go. I'd like to call this meeting of the Jersey Shore School District Board of Directors December 13th special meeting to order. I'd like to make a comment that we had an executive session starting at 6 p.m. for legal and safety purposes. Mr. Enders, roll call.
Mr. Allen.
Present.
Mrs. Calhoun.
Here.
Ms. Dobler. Here. Mrs. Grant.
Here.
Mr. Kinley. Here. Mrs. Minotti. Mrs. Petrosky.
Here.
Mrs. Stemler.
Here.
Mrs. Thomas.
Here.
All 9 members present.
Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go too much further, I'm not seeing live stream. Are we okay? Okay. Just double check.
Next on the agenda is the superintendent's report.
The one item I have on the superintendent's report for tonight is to recognize Luann Gasparin for the Jersey Shore Education Foundation.
One of those days. Good evening. For the new school board members, my name is Luann Gasparin. I'm the board president for our Jersey Shore Education Foundation. Apparently I was supposed to be here last week, but it's,
No.
it worked out. Yeah, it worked out. So I have a short presentation. Some of it's old stuff for the older people that our former board members. Some of it is new stuff for our new board members, just so you understand where we're coming from. It's kind of like a overview, I guess, is what we do. We, in the last 4 months, have had our EITC designation renewed. We've had new projects approved, and currently, those are some of the projects that we have going on within the district that we can spend our EITC funds on. EITC means Educational Improvement Tax Credit. It is a program that is promoted by DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development. Basically, businesses have to apply to be part of this tax credit program, as well as 501c3 corporations also have to apply to be part of this program. Short form, if the businesses are involved in that, and the nonprofits are involved in that, whatever taxes that the businesses have, they can apply to or send money, funds to the nonprofits to be used, and then they are forgiven that amount of money by the state. Case in example, Muncie Bank gave us $20,000 this year, and this is a representative of $20,000 that they would have paid in taxes, except that their money, they're part of this program, so they can donate it to us as a foundation to be used within the district for various projects that are approved by this EITC program. A complete list of all of our programs I have right here. So if you would like to take one, then you have an idea of what programs we have. If you haven't seen them, some of them are around in the community. The Butterfly Garden is up by Jersey Shore Elementary, and right next to it is the community garden. This year it was quite prolific. I did a program with the summer program up there at the elementary school. And when we were finished, there were 17 kids representing 15 families. And each kid got a zucchini to take home afterwards. So they did a great job with it. Skills Quest is the program for our excavator simulator. And we actually have had a few other pieces of equipment with that. We've had author and artist in residence programs. This past October, I believe we had a professor from Penn College who wrote a textbook about her blind son. And she did a presentation for all 3 elementary schools and brought in numerous items such as Braille books and activities. She actually had the kids make their name with raisins on a card so that the kids can feel, you know, what the Braille is like. She was absolutely tickled pink to be here. Field trips, we have some STEM activities. We have been able to fund the elementary STEM classroom. As a matter of fact, we want to finish that because the year we put money into that, we only had enough funds for 15 iPads, and we would like to have a complete class set of 25. So this year we are looking forward to putting the other 10 iPads in that room. We also received a grant this year from PP&L targeted to the middle school STEM program. So other items that they need to purchase for that, we have $6,000 available. Okay. The other thing with that, just to give you an overview, this is the types of programs, sorry about that, that the EITC program will only allow. So they have to meet at least one of the requirements in this list of items so that we can write for approval for that program. Case in point, I think it was last year, a mini grant was written for the computer program. I forget what it was, but it wasn't approved because it was too specific. I would have had to rewrite it. Ed Puzzle was the name of the program. The Ed Puzzle was not approved as it was written. I would have had to make it broader based and included a little bit more detail as far as various educational programs that could be used within the district. So just to give you an overview of what kind of programs we can write for approval for, we have approximately 16 all total. And according to the gentleman who is in charge of EITC in Harrisburg, that's a lot. So that's okay by me. As long as they're used, I'm okay. This past year, we wrote a few more. The middle school STEM class. The industrial certifications, AP exams are automatically included in EITC funding. So I presented the fact that a lot of our industrial certifications like C+ that is taught at the high school, or in automotive, they may be able to get their inspection certificate. Comparable to AP exams, which is the case that I had presented, and therefore industrial certifications are also covered under EITC. Up to this point, the costs of those were generally borne by the students themselves, or they would hold fundraisers to help pay for them, because sometimes they're pretty expensive. Couple other things there. The virtual reality and augmented reality, I would like to see that. I'm still talking teachers into doing that. There is a wonderful program out there for biology and for AP, anatomy and physiology. Using the iPads, they look at a picture and click on it, and the picture itself kind of pops up 3D, which is pretty amazing. But they want the teachers, and I understand this, the teachers need time to train on it, and that's what we have not been able to do. Heath Rager, they have the Oculus that they can use for safety training, pretty much is the one that I saw that I particularly cared for. In his program, it would be training the kids to go into like confined spaces, which can be a little hazardous. So if they can do it virtually with the Oculus, then they can go through those motions. Or repairing your HVAC. That's another program that I saw on the Oculus itself. The drawback here is that every time you use an Oculus, you need 10 square feet per kid. And if you have 15 kids in a classroom, the only place we have big enough for that is the gym. You know, so right now we haven't, it's there. If we can figure out how to implement it, then we can get it, you know, in place. So those are some of the things that we've just had approved. The adaptive swing. We raised the funds to place an adaptive swing at JSE and a portable swing at Avis Elementary, given the costs that we were presented with. The pathway is in at JSE. The swing itself has been ordered, but at this point in time, it has not been delivered yet. We're anticipating sometime this month. Unfortunately, well, I don't know if it's good or bad news, because the weather's been warm. The kids can get out and use it. But that's also climate change, and I don't know about you, but I don't know if I want to see 50, 60-degree weather in December. You know, we also have, in my neighborhood, there are 2 forsythia bushes trying to bloom, which is not good. The total cost was approximately $12,000. Funds came in from every place, personal donors, the community groups. It was just, I had goosebumps. It was great. So it will be of no cost to the district. The project is underway, and right now we're awaiting the arrival of the swing. So we can at least complete one. Fundraisers, community education program. I don't know what happened there. I know I was offering some swimming classes, except I had a health issue and I was not allowed to be in the water after the first week. So, and I had to cancel that for the rest of the duration. Maybe in the spring. I know the individuals that were there were very happy with it and would like to continue. We have asked for instructors, many of whom are volunteers. We got some, but we didn't get a lot of people to apply, and we can't figure out why. So we were discussing it today at the meeting. We're looking for the spring maybe to start something else up, maybe a different venue, I don't know. But anyway, it's of no cost to you folks. It was trying to be a fundraiser for us. Well, this is kind of, Foundation submitted a grant to PP&L. We did get it. So we have at least that much money for our middle school STEM classroom to be used. We have 2 years to use it too. Additional funding, we offer $2,000 teacher mini grants, and this year I believe we spent close to $17,000 all total in mini grants. Some of it was EITC funded and some of it was not. So we will continue to look for different funds for various projects. I've written a number of grants and we'll continue to do so. High Company, this one was kind of an interesting one. They contacted me out of the blue. I had no idea where this company was even from. And in fact, I kind of hesitated. I thought maybe it was a scam of some sort, but it truly wasn't. And they have donated $5,000 for the Trout in the Classroom program that we have at the high school between Trish Schweitzer and Steph Mockman. So they're still waiting for some quotes to come in before they can order the equipment that they need. Is everybody aware of the Trout in the Classroom? Yes, no? Short story, short version, they raise trout to be put into the streams. About, what, April is when trout season comes, so it's like March, April. And they raise them from eggs. And they are fussy, fussy, fussy fish. So they will get thousands of eggs and maybe release 30 or 40. That's how fast they just kind of go by the wayside. But they are very fussy fish when they're growing up, hence we need to be very careful of our waterways. It's a great lesson for the kids in water quality. It's a great lesson for kids in, taking care of the water and the aquarium and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. Here, these are the things that we got this year for mini grants. So, in fact, I'm teaching in the Ag Van this week. It's at Jersey Shore Elementary. It's in the back. If anybody would like to stop in and see what the Ag Van is all about, you're more than welcome to. I'm not going to guarantee that I'll have time to talk with you or anything like that because the kids keep me busy. It's a hands-on ag type of experience. We do experiments. It's all hands-on, which is my style of science. Today we were talking about, it was called Fungi Fun, where they examine a mushroom and they examine the internals of a plant stem with the different tubes. And I was absolutely shocked that you'd give a kid a mushroom and they'd go on like, they weren't going to touch it. It's like, no, here. So, I couldn't get over that. And the one kid wouldn't even hold a piece of celery. They, took the celery apart. I said, the strings that get caught in your teeth? Yeah, that's their blood vessels, so to speak. And the one kid was, no, I'm not touching it. Okay, whatever. Float your boat. So this year, with what we have left over, initially we have approximately, to start with, $69,000 to start with. We had to carry over $27,000 from last year, plus what we get this year. So additional materials, that's what we're going to work on. I already told you about doing the extra 10 iPads. Those other things that are there are from the STEAM room for the elementary. I don't know how much we'll get to that. We're also going to put the base on the simulator. Up to now, the simulator, although it's cool, where your kid sits in the actual seat that you would find in a cat excavator, and they have to manipulate, the scooper. I don't know the proper terminology for all this. The bucket, okay. But now, if we order the base for it, if they accidentally hit the truck that they're loading, then the whole thing jumps. So they get the real full effect of what it's like to operate something that's a heavy piece of equipment. I'm really glad we went with this rather than buying the actual thing, simply because I know those kids at the high school and they would probably bury somebody's car with the real thing. That's about it as far as my update. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I want to thank you for your support over the past few years that we've had. And any time you want to donate, we'll be happy to accept your donation. If you have any capital projects, we would like very much to undertake some capital projects in connection with the district. So you can email me at foundation@jsasd.org or me at the school. Mary knows where I am. A lot of the administrators all know how they can get in touch with me without boring you with all of those gory details. Yes?
How much are you allowed to carry over from any one?
EITC funds are good for 2 years. I can carry it over for 2 years. So the $27,000 we had left over from last year has to be spent. There is absolutely, and if we don't spend it and I apply for renewal, we as a district, as a foundation, can be denied. And I don't know how you feel, but quite frankly, I would hate to turn down like $42,000 a year because I can't spend the money.
So are the mini grants for teachers completed, or you'll have another session for second semester?
We actually only do mini grants once a year, and we have that due date in October. And the teachers are then all informed beginning of November that they got the grant. But we have instituted, since well, let's put it this way. The experience has been that after the October deadline, when the mini grants were awarded or were turned in, we've had things come up. For instance, last year, Jeff Clue had an opportunity to get artifacts and stuff that were sent to the district, cost $550. Not much, but no way of funding it. So we instituted what we call an anytime grant. There is no deadline on this. There is very little, what do you want to say? I'm not sure how to say it. There is no deadline. It's a rolling deadline type thing. They send it to us. It has to be approved not just by our grants committee, but by the whole foundation board. And it's at a meeting. And we meet every 2 months for about an hour, roughly. So if things like that occur, I can email it out to all the board members, and then we can discuss it either online to determine whether or not we're going to fund it, as we did with Jeff Clue's history thing, which wound up him taking the kids around Jersey Shore with Jersey Shore antiquities that were brought to the district and to the area. And they taught the kids a lot about our current and local history here. So that was one of the things that we had. So we do have our anytime grants besides our teacher mini grants, providing we have the funds. That's what makes the difference. Anybody else?
Are there the STEM classrooms in all of the elementary schools, or is it just at JSE currently?
Right now, it's just at JSE, but, and that's a big but, JSE is set up so that it is also a lending library. The goal here was to have every teacher in the district in the elementary classrooms utilize it once a year. So every teacher has the opportunity to put in, to borrow whatever's there. And it could be anything from the iPads to the Ozobots to some of the tiles that they have, the Kiva blocks. There's a bucket of stuff down there. Katie has been great with it. She has inventoried it all. It is online so that the teachers can access it. The hard part about this is getting the teachers to use it.
Katie is our librarian.
Oh, I'm sorry, Katie Work, yes, she's our district librarian. And she's really very good at it.
How is it then transported from JSE to the outlying schools?
1-800 van.
There's two things that have happened. So Katie Word, our elementary library, she works in all three buildings. So sometimes it's, hey, can I have this the next time you are back at Avis or Sal? Sometimes it's our district courier van that's going from building to building every day. One thing I will add to what Luann said is Katie has done sessions at faculty meetings where she has brought stuff to faculty meetings and kind of trained teachers on how to use all the stuff. And I did say this in my update last week to the board, but one of the things that some of our new board members have asked for is tours. I think if you saw it, it would make more sense.
Yep.
It's more of a small room that's full of stuff and not necessarily
A class.
a classroom where kids are going. It's a small group instruction room at JSE that is where we store all the stuff. So I think it would help for you to see it's more that there's a place with a lot of stuff in it that teachers are borrowing stuff from.
Is
I have
Katie-
done tours for our funders, the different industries that have given us money. And for board members last spring, I will be happy to arrange a tour. If anybody is interested, just let me know.
Is Katie the one that currently teaches STEAM at the elementary schools? using
She
these
does.
products?
Yes.
She does, but a lot of the teachers can do. At JSE, you have not just Katie, and God knows I'm awful with names, but she, who was it that wrote a grant from Mansfield University for materials too, that goes in there? They have a STEM committee down at JSE that, and it's a group of teachers. Diane Mantek is involved with that, Katie Wirt, kindergarten teachers. Who are my kindergarten teachers at JSE? If I hear the name, I'll know it.
Lisa Sanimo.
Lisa Sanimo is another one that's a part of that. And these individuals have written grants for equipment to be put in there, as well as working with the materials in their classrooms.
And the process of acquiring these materials from JSC is just a simple online.
She has, Katie has a form that they fill out and request the materials that they would like to use. A lot of it is actually can be used in conjunction with the FOSS science that they have. FOSS is great. The only drawback I've ever seen with FOSS is making sure that the disposables or the consumables are restocked. So,
Thank you.
anybody else? Well, thank you very much for your attention, and be working with you. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments about future programs or whatever, please don't hesitate to contact us. Tell Dr. Almer, I will read his emails real quick. Not like some of the other ones, I just kind of like, oh, I'll do that later.
Well, I appreciate that, Luann. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my report, Madam President.
Next on the agenda is courtesy of the floor. There is no signups for courtesy of the floor, so we will move on. Next on the agenda is miscellaneous items. There are 2 items for miscellaneous. One is the update to the health and safety plan, letter A, and letter B is the motion to approve our guaranteed energy services agreement with Site Lodge IQ Energy Services.
I will point out for item B, I want to explain in the second line of that motion, the approval is conditioned upon acceptance of the agreement and terms by the solicitor. So what will happen is after we approve it, because they're still in the process of drafting dates and things, the solicitor will have to sign off on that agreement before we go out with it. We had talked about that. I just want to make sure I said that so you understand what that condition is. So right now, the attachment has the items that we're purchasing, and you got the timeline and the list of items, but the actual legal language that we'll put into the bid process will have to be reviewed by the solicitor before it gets out there in the public. Anything you want to add to that? Chris says no, but Damien has something to add.
Brevity. Good evening. It's nice to see you all. So what you have in front of you is this package that I have, and that package really talks about the scope and costs and the timing and the things that we're going to do. There's an agreement that's kind of a base agreement that has your name in it and our name in it and all the things and references this. And that base agreement it effectively you fill it out with names and things. It's relatively simple. And we want your attorney to make sure that they're completely comfortable. The administration's completely comfortable. We're, checking with the administration on all this stuff because this is what we actually buy, et cetera. But this is a standard process that we use so that you have the ability to move on these things and you still have the ability to get your administration and council to have the agreement say what they wanted to say on your behalf. So,
Go ahead, Chris. I have my microphone to the iPad if you want to talk. Your head shaking.
and
I was just agreeing with what he was saying is that this is not an unusual process with this type of contracting.
Did everybody hear that? Okay. And I want to make sure that I'm clear because we are using ESSER funds, and this had to be there was a separate document application that I had to put in, I shared with the board to use ESSER funds to do this. I had not heard back yet from PDE on that approval. So I got on the phone on Friday. I had a meeting today with my federal programs coordinator, and they only had 2 questions about our application. I answered both of them. I had not had some of these documents yet, but I shared the standard documents that we were using that SiteLogic and Hunt had helped us with. They were very happy with our bid process and what the board had gone through. That all of that is part of the PDE approval to use federal funds to do this project. And they did return the application to me today so I could answer the 2 additional questions, but they said at this point they believe that our application would then be fast-tracked through the approval process. So we're in good shape.
And I wanted to make sure we're clear. So we have gone out and gotten our pricing, which is what this is. So this is the actual numbers and the units, et cetera, to purchase that equipment ahead of going out and doing the install, which will come back in the first quarter with to be ready to work in the summertime. So we've gone through that process. We're working closely with Hunt, and we're really going to be in a position to order this stuff very quickly. We will order that based on your board vote, and we won't have to wait for the comments from the solicitor, because we tend to find that the agreements we write are school district friendly. I mean, we work in lots of school districts, and if we had agreements that weren't friendly to school district terms, we'd have problems. So if the board elects to proceed tonight, we will be continuing to work and get everything ordered, and then we'll work with the administration, your council, to tidy up anything that they'd like to see edited or changed. Yes, sir.
The current supply chain issue.
Right now, there is none. There are none. You got to say the correct, the subject verb agreement when you're in a school district, I should note. My English teachers would be proud. So there are none now. We haven't seen that change and be strange recently. So what we're seeing for this HVAC equipment, we feel confident that because Hunt did an excellent job of getting us information about what equipment to order, and we're working now to make the installation as cost-effective as possible. Because of their good work and our teamwork, we're in a position to do this, and we think we have plenty of time to do that. So we do think we're in good shape. I can't tell you what I don't know that could happen, but I don't think so.
Any other questions for Damian?
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
And I do want to say, in terms of letter A, I was asked to address the difference in what is in this language versus what's currently happening. And I just want to make sure that I'm clear that what we have been following has been the PDE flow chart of close contact designation and quarantining based on CDC recommendations. What I'm recommending and what you see in this language is strictly following what is written in the law. If you look at that disease and prevention control law, it says we have 2 obligations as a school district. We are required to notify PDE and Department of Health of positive cases in our school. We will continue to do that. We will continue to notify anyone who's in contact with a positive case. What the second obligation is to isolate symptomatic individuals. So we will continue to do that, meaning if you have symptoms, you can't be in a building. But if you're exposed and you do not have symptoms and you don't develop symptoms, you can continue to be at school. We'll tell you you were exposed, but you can continue to be here. Those 2 phrases are what the law says we are required to do as a school district. Again, the question was, well, that's not what we've been doing. We've been following up to this point PDE and Department of Health guidelines, where I'm recommending we pull back to what the law specifically says, because we are seeing people we're isolating that don't develop symptoms and don't test positive, and it's disrupting our ability to educate those children, and it's disrupting, in many cases, our ability to staff our buildings because we're sending staff home. Questions about that?
Yeah, is there a reason that we need to wait till January 3rd to do this? Can we do that sooner?
You can amend the motion.
Okay.
You can't add things to the agenda unless it's an emergency, but if it's on the agenda, you can amend the motion that's on the agenda.
Okay, I need a motion for A and B.
I would make a motion, but can I amend it then
Mhm.
at this time?
Mhm.
Okay, I would like to amend item A to start that effective immediately, okay? Or what should, like,
Effective
when is as
immediately
soon
is
as that we could be able?
appropriate.
Okay,
Your
immediately then,
solicitor says okay.
okay.
I'll second it.
Clarification, when you are making the motion, you're making it for both A and B with the amendment to A.
Yes.
Okay. And we did have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Being that this is a special board meeting, we will not be looking at old business, but we will allow the second courtesy of the floor if there's anybody that would like to say anything. Seeing none, we will move on. And that is to adjournment. May I have a motion?
Second.
We are now adjourned.
Thank you all.